volume's down here, isn't it? Yeah. The volume.
I don't.
Okay. It's just the sign that says faith. That's what you're seeing. An optical illusion. You understand?
Yeah, but
It's an optical illusion. Okay, we ready? 3, 2, 1, and go. Greetings, family! Hi, how you doing? It's good to be with you again on another one of our Frank 26 UB2Bs here. It's our infomercial today. It's the protection group, the LLC trust funds that we have. And what we're going to do tonight, we're going to bring in Bill Johnson, and we're just going to salt and pepper him with a bunch of questions, because I know you have a lot of questions. Yeah. And this is a powerful tool, a good tool. It's been used since the beginning of politicians. Anyways, I want to introduce to you Bill Johnson, who's going to take the floor now and say a few words, and then we're going to just hit him with a bunch of questions and have fun. You should prepare yourself. Look at the questions that I'm going to ask him. I'm going to ask him about 10 questions. And then see if maybe you have questions as well, too. And when I'm done, I'll see your questions and we'll ask them, okay? This is a golden opportunity for you to learn about a tool that you are going to need. It's not like you can avoid these trust funds. They're staring you right in the face, and they're asking you, do you know about me or not? Are you going to use me or not? The answer should be indubitably yes to both of those. So, without any further delay, let us go ahead and bring in our dear brother Bill Johnson, and then we'll ask him with questions when he's done. Bill, are you there, sir?
Cool. Yes, Frank. I'm here. Great introduction. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Glad to be here with you and Jan and the whole KTFA family.
Yes, sir.
What we want to talk about tonight is your money, your assets. How are you going to protect them? Because when you get them, everybody and his brother is going to be after them. And we're going to show you a way that's very easy to do. As a matter of fact, if you follow in the footsteps of a lot of your brethren, you'll just join in the family of the protection group, KTFA, bonded family with trust and friendships and the whole 9 yards. But the first thing I want to talk to you about is what to avoid. There are a couple things out there that you really do want to avoid. After all, you've got money that you're going to have that you waited. Some have waited 15 plus years. Some have been fortunate only having to wait 3 months. But the bottom line is, when you have the money, you still need to protect it. There are a couple things out there that you might run into that I want to warn you about. Number one is when you go to the bank to exchange your currency. If you have not been able to purchase the trust at that point, which the majority of the folks are not able to purchase the trust up front, because the trust package that we offer costs $2,900, and I don't care how you say it, that's a lot of money. It always has been, and it's always going to be a lot of money. That's a lot of money, but you have to get something really good for it to make it worthwhile. But if you don't have it, then you're going to go to your currency exchange, and you're going to exchange your currency, and you're going to put it into a checking account, and then go through the steps that I'll outline in a later call. I'm going to give you at the end of this call the education number, which will explain all about what the steps are to procure your trust. But the bank is more than likely going to say to you, and first of all, let me say, you don't have to have a trust to exchange a currency. Whoever told you that is wrong. When I first heard that, the first thing I did was call several of the banks, and they said, absolutely not. That's ridiculous. And it is ridiculous. You don't have to have a trust to exchange a currency. You just have to have a trust later on if you want to protect your currency. But here's what the bank may do. The bank may say to you, hey, Mr. Jones, I've got you got this $10 million coming. Why don't you let us put it into a trust at the bank? It costs you nothing. It's an irrevocable trust. It will protect your assets. And folks, everything I just said that the banker is going to say to you is true. But here's something he's not telling you. You've heard me talk about it. You'll hear me talk about it again tonight, that you have 100% control of this trust, of the money in this trust. And do you not want to have control of what you waited for 15 years or 3 months, either one? But don't you want to have control of your money, that the investment that's paying off for you? I hope the answer is yes. And if so, you want to avoid what the banker's offering you, because here's the problem. He's going to offer you that irrevocable trust, no cost to you, and it will protect your assets. The problem is that he's going to assign 2 people in the bank, probably vice presidents. They have a whole room full of them at most banks, 2 vice presidents to be your trustees. Well, I've always told you that you control this trust 100% of the time. The trust that we have, that we're offering to you now, that is 100% of the time you control the trustees, you control the trust, you control all the assets. When the bank provides the 2 trustees, you've lost control. You don't have any control. You have $10 million in your account and you want to get $500,000 out for a house, and they say no. There's nothing you can do. Your hands are tied. In our trust, if somebody says no to you, you fire them and go on. You can pretend like you're Donald Trump, you're fired, boom, and away they go. And that's how easy it would be to get rid of somebody. But watch out for that. I don't think bankers would, give human nature, give men and women the benefit of the doubt and say that they wouldn't be doing something like that on purpose. But on purpose or not, it's your money. So forget about that and do not do it. Anytime that you have an opportunity to buy what's called a living trust or a family trust, where all your assets go into one trust, then folks, you don't have asset protection. I'm sorry to tell you, but you do not have asset protection. After you understand and go to the educational call number that I'm going to give you at the end of this call, I won't be getting into that tonight, but that will explain to you why all of your assets in one trust won't work, because it does not offer you the asset protection that you're looking for. So with that said, let's talk about the protection group. We've got enough about our competitors and things. They're not really competitors. Look, they're pitfalls for you. That's all it is. It's a pitfall. If we don't get your business and you go to the bank and you get, that's fine. If that makes you happy, go for it. We're fine. We want the best for you. I mean, after all, there's enough money in this for everybody to have peace of mind, and that's what we're trying to offer to you, is peace of mind. Whether you when you go to bed at night that your cash is in the bank and it can't be touched by an outside force like a lawsuit or something like that. But excuse me, the protection group offers a package of 10 trusts. Excuse me. And the first thing you're going to say is, why 10 trusts? Well, again, you need to understand the segregation of your assets, and you need to have multiple trusts in order to have segregation of your assets. And that, again, comes in the educational call. It's all explained to you from A to Z. So with that program, we offer the 10 trusts. We also offer 11 attachments that come with it. The 11 attachments are extremely important. They help you navigate around the trust. They help you with your, for example, one of the first things you're going to do is obtain an EIN number from the Internal Revenue Service. Well, anybody can do that. I mean, you can get online and wait 5, 6, 7, 8 hours with people, and you get online and get an EIN number. Or you might hire somebody out on the website, the internet, to do it for you for $200 or $300. You don't need to do that. When you purchase the trust from the protection group, we send you back the trust along with 11 attachments, and one of those attachments is a document that says how to apply for and obtain an EIN number. An EIN number, for those that, if you don't know, it's an employer identification number. It's equivalent to a social security number for an individual, but as a corporation or a trust, you have to have an EIN number. Well, that tutorial that we give to you, that how to apply for and obtain an EIN number, is it's a tutorial. Just follow the bouncing ball, and all the questions that the Internal Revenue Service asks you are multiple choice, and we've circled the correct answer. Everything that you need to put in there, we've circled the correct information. 25 minutes after you get into it, you hit submit at the bottom, and in 2 minutes after that, you'll have an EIN number with the document print out from the Internal Revenue Service, and there's no charge for that. Don't let anybody tell you that they charge you $200. I've had customers before that bought a trust, didn't realize what they were doing, and spent $200 to $300 getting somebody to get them an EIN number when it was right there for them. In the first place, it was right there, and they just missed out on it somehow. But don't let that happen to you, because when you get the trust, it's all right there for you. So this trust is a irrevocable, complex, segregated asset trust. First word in there is irrevocable. That is not a word that means what it says, what it looks like it means. It looks like if it's irrevocable, that you could never change anything. Our trust is an irrevocable trust, but you, as the original settler of the trust. Now, first of all, what's a settler? Well, you are on the call. You're the one that's going to exchange currency. You're the one that's going to put money into the trust. That makes you have the title of settler. So Part A of the application that you fill out is you as the settler. Well, as long as if you're married, then it'll be you and your spouse will be the settlors. Folks, as long as you're alive, either one of you, you can change anything in the trust that you put in 2021 anytime you want. Anything. You can change your successor beneficiaries, you can change your trustees, you can change the terms of the successors as to how they establish the money that they're going to get out after you're gone. You can change any of that because it's not irrevocable to you. But the second generation after you pass away is going to be the folks that you leave your assets to. Those people are going to be more than likely your children. Okay, they're going to be inheriting an irrevocable position. They cannot change anything that's put in that trust that you put in there. For example, you have set up parameters for how your successor beneficiaries are going to receive money. You have to set it up to what, and that's up to you and your wealth manager and your CPA. They'll give you ideas. There's people out there that you're going to be dealing with, working with. They set up wills all the time. Then they'll also know how to handle this situation. I got a call coming in from a KTF member wanting the information about the trust. I can't stop to give it to them. But so anyway, the irrevocable to your successor beneficiaries is what you want. You want them to be able to adhere to the rules that you set forth, and you'll be controlling this trust from the grave. Can the successor beneficiaries that are in the second generation change the trustees and the protector? Yes, they can. That has nothing to do with the money. What we're protecting is the money. We don't want some successor beneficiaries to come in and rob the trust and take it all out and go to Las Vegas and lose it. We just don't want that. But that's up to you. You control that. You set it up. It's totally up to you. This trust is an automatically renewable trust. It renews itself automatically every 14 years. Automatically. You don't do a thing. There's no fees. There's no fees to set it up. There's no fees to renew it. And the question always comes up to, how do I record my trust, Bill? How do I do that? Well, it's done automatically. When you go to the Internal Revenue Service and ask for an EIN number, you're recording that EIN number. That EIN number, by the way, will be in the name of your asset management trust. Let's say you called it United Community Asset Management Trust, or call it, like I do in some of the calls, ABC Asset Management Trust. When you send that to the IRS, you just recorded that trust. It's recorded with the federal government. You're going to buy a house. You're going to buy a home, and it's going to be in the name of Home Sweet Home Real Estate Trust. When that deed is made out in the name of Home Sweet Home Real Estate Trust and it goes to the Register of Deeds office, you just registered your trust. You buy an automobile, the title goes to the county court clerk. You buy a boat, the county court clerk again. You buy a motorcycle, you buy an airplane, it all goes to the county court clerk. And when you submit that title request to the county court clerk, you have just registered your trust. Okay? So there's a whole lot of things I could go over, and I could spend an hour and a half in this, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for you guys to ask questions. I know Frank, I understand Frank has got a few questions he has that he wants to ask, and that's great. And then when we get through with that, we'll have questions that you guys want. And at the end of the call, I'm going to give you the numbers for the educational call, and I'm going to give you the numbers for the Tuesday and Thursday night call that we have. As a matter of fact, tonight at 8:30 Eastern time. Right now it's about 7:15, I guess. So about 8:30 Eastern time, I'll give you that phone number also. And at the end of that 8:30 call on Tuesday and Thursday evening, we have that open for Q&A. And on that call, our attorney will be with us. His name is Scott Sadak. And Scott is the retained attorney he's retained by the protection group. He's always on that call for us to answer questions that may be something that I can't or answer or don't want to answer because it's a legal question, and I'm not going to give you legal advice, and I get tired of saying in my opinion. So heck, let's forget his opinion. Let's get the real answer from the trustee, from the protector, the attorney. Let the attorney tell us what's going on, and that's what will happen on those calls. So at the end of the call, that's what we'll give you that information. And just one little tidbit of information that's kind of interesting. That you might not know this. And in 1765, Patrick Henry introduced to the United States the first trust. It was called the North American Land Trust.
That's why I say
North American Land Trust, and it's still in existence today from 1765. So do trusts work? Absolutely. Do most people that have a lot of money have a trust? Yes, they do. Do they have an irrevocable trust? Yes, they do. If you have a revocable trust, it does not offer asset protection. So what's the point? Well, the only point I can think of is that inheritance taxes. If you have any kind of a trust, family trust, living trust, irrevocable trust, and you pass away, the federal government gets nothing because you don't own anything. It's all in trust, and there'd be no inheritance taxes. That's the reason that living trust and family trust are set up. They're for avoiding taxes in probate. Frank, I think let's open this thing up for questions and see what you have first, and then we'll open it up for the other folks.
Okay, I got some questions because when I talked to you about this for the very first time, I rapid fired you a bunch of questions, and after I did that, I had a better understanding of this trust fund. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard what he just said, about our politicians. That's why I said that this trust funds have been around. What was that year? What was that? 17 what?
1765.
And the doggone thing is still functioning?
It's still here today. It
Well,
sure is.
well,
Called
then
the North American Land Trust.
And that's why I said this whole trust idea of saving and protecting yourself, especially from, from what you figured out, was done by politicians. That was my first line when I started with you. Let's, the old saying, follow the money. Well, follow the way that powerful people protect their money. Bill, let me start out by asking you, how many trustees do you have to have? Can you just have one trustee?
No, Frank, you have to have two trustees. Mm. And the trustees have a very important function in your trust. They're the ones that write the checks. Because if you write a check, if you were a trustee and you could write a check, then you don't have asset protection. All the judge would do is say, hey, Frank, you owe $1 million, write the check. Well, if he said it to you and you had this trust, you'd look at him like with a blank, like deer in headlights, because you don't have any money. It's all in trust. So, but you have to have two trustees.
Very good. Very good. Can I be my own trustee?
I just answered that.
Well, I just thought I'd ask
you
it
cannot.
again.
You cannot. In this trust, you can't even be your own trustee. If you have a family trust or a living trust, you can be your own trustee. But remember, you do not have asset protection in those trusts. In our trust, you cannot be your own trustee.
The reason I asked that, I know that you had defined that in the first question, is because somebody posted, they said, I don't like the idea that, somebody's going to write a check for me. By me asking you that question, it reiterated and once again the reason why you want trustees, the reason why you want someone to sign these checks for you. You don't want to be the owner of your own money. Let the trust fund take care of that, and let the trustees be the representatives of writing out the checks. Right?
That
That dismisses you from any
that's
connection to that
that's
money.
absolutely correct. That's
Okay.
absolutely correct.
I get an
You
A.
got to remember one. You got to remember one thing too, Frank.
What?
You and Jan have a trust. When you have a trust, you be the beneficiaries of the trust, and you can have 40 trusts under you, 40 sub trusts with automobiles, with rental properties, with everything. The
I
bottom
will.
line is you and your wife Jan are the only two people in the whole world that can benefit from the assets of the trust. Nobody else can benefit from them except you.
Amen. Here's another one. If I have 10 trusts, to start out with, because that's what your package has, do I need 10 checking accounts or do I need 10 EIN numbers?
The answer to that is no. You have the one asset management trust. They have the two trustees. You have the bank account. You have the EIN number. And the other trusts that you set up are all sub-trusts. Just think of as the asset management trust as an umbrella. And under the umbrella are your sub-trusts. The sub-trust, like an automobile you have as a sub-trust, that protects it's in this trust all by itself. It doesn't need an EIN number. It doesn't need a checkbook. It doesn't need a trustee. The trustees of the trust that you have will take care of any business that has to be taken care of in those sub-trusts.
Interesting. Good answer. Can I have more than one checking account?
Absolutely. It's just like you. Frank, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
You and Jan have a personal life and you have a checking account.
Yeah.
If you want to have 3 checking accounts, can you have 3 checking accounts?
Yeah, I got more than 3.
Okay. Well, so can a trust have more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's when we talk about segregation of assets. Cash is an asset, and if you want to segregate it in case your one of your banks could fail or something that's possible,
Very good.
then you take that $10 million that you have and you can put $10 million, put $1 million in 10 different banks if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
You set them up with you use the same EIN number and you use the same 2 trustees that sign off on every one of those things. But now you have your cash segregated.
I tell you, Bill, with the way banks are nowadays, how they've changed, especially since the Obama era. And then on top of that, I don't like the fact that the FDIC, the insurance that protects my money in banks, is not sufficient. It's not suffice. Shoot, I'll become my own bank. I'll put it in a trustee or in a trust fund. Here's another
Yep.
question. Can I change my successor beneficiaries after I've set up the trust fund?
Well, to get your trust set up, you have to have at least one successor beneficiary on the application to set up your trust.
Okay.
You can change it the next day.
Oh.
You can add to it. You can change it. One of the 11 attachments, Frank, that comes with the trust is called a letter of wishes. Now that's a crazy name. I would have made a different name out of it than that. But what it really is, it's a document of what do you, the beneficiary of this trust, want. What do you want?
Oh.
Well, you want to change first thing you got a one trustee, so one successor beneficiary down there, and you want to change that. How do you want to change it? Do you want to put 2 more with it? Do you want to get rid of that person and get you another? What do you want to change? And all you do is you write it out. Beneficiary wants to change this. It's all you do is write it out. What your beneficiary wants this. So it's a letter of wants rather than it's called a letter of wishes.
That's the part where you say we are in control of these trust funds, aren't we?
Absolutely, 100%.
Because, I get myself set up with a trustee. It might be my best friend of 30-something years, but all of a sudden, the next day, he and I, get into an argument, and I really don't feel confident having him as my trustee. I am in control of these trust funds. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, here's the way that would go, Frank.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone. Hey, Frank, how you doing? Hey, Frank, I got some news for you.
What?
We're going a different direction with our trust. we're not going to use you as a trustee anymore because of the direction we're taking. But thanks for doing what you've done so far. I'll talk to you later. Maybe we can play golf together soon. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
And they don't have any say in it because I'm in control of the trust.
That is correct.
Oh, I love being in control. Hey, can my son or daughter be my trustees?
Your daughter could be your trustee, but she can't be your trustee if you want to ever give her any money in the trust as a successor beneficiary. So my answer to that would be no. I would never put my daughter as a trustee in a trust.
Wow.
You cannot hold, but in the successor beneficiaries, trustees, and protector, there's 3 different sections of the application. Your name can only appear one time. You cannot be a successor beneficiary and a trustee. You cannot be a trustee and a protector.
Yeah,
Your name can only appear one time.
Yeah, double jeopardy, I guess, Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought about that. Those that are my beneficiaries, like my wife, my children, I wouldn't want them as trustees because they would be null and void in the beneficiaries. But
That is correct.
But
They would be null and void.
But the next person, like for example, that is in my trust circle would be like my sister. I would have my sister be my trustee. Yeah, I like that idea. So,
Absolutely.
I know you talked about the word irrevocable, but it seems to be, a word that may cause a little fear. Does irrevocable mean that I can never change anything in the trust?
Well, it does not. Like I said earlier, if you and your spouse are the original settlers of the trust, as long as you're alive, you can change anything in the trust that you put in. You can change anything. As a matter of fact, you can shut the trust down. You can just close it completely. You have complete control. But you. Yeah, I'm just lost my train of thought. Anyway,
no worries. Here, let me ask you this: How do I pay?
Okay.
How do I pay for my trust? Are there more fees besides the $2,900 for the 10 trusts that the protection group offers?
That's a good question, and you'll like the answer. But the answer is there's never additional charges and never any fees. We've had people in the last year. I've had 3 or 4 people. This trust's been going on for a long time, and people have been waiting for an RV for a long time. So we've had calls from just lady that just called Elizabeth says, "Bill, I got a problem." I said, "What's that, Elizabeth?" She said, "Well, my computer failed, and my trust was in the computer, and I can't get it out. And now what do I do?"
What does she do? Do you guys have
And I
backups?
said, well, I said, here's all you do, Elizabeth. You send an email to the Protection Group LLC at gmail.com, and you know that address because you've used it before.
Yeah.
And she says, "Okay, I know. What do I do?" I said, "You tell it your name is Elizabeth Jones. You have your asset management trust name, and you need another trust because yours got eaten by the dogs, or the cat, the computer ate it, or computer lost it, or what." And we send you another trust completely for no charge.
Really? You protect me forever that way?
It happened 4 times last year. It's funny, but
Wow.
yeah, we have and anything that you want. There's people like, for example, one of the application questions is, what bank do you want to use? Well, when you go to the bank to open up a trust account, you have to take bank documents that show that you actually have a trust. Well, we provide those bank documents to you, and when you fill out your application, let's say you filled out your application and you put down Wells Fargo as your bank, and we send you bank documents. Now, in the bank document, in the body of the bank document, it says that Wells Fargo is the bank that's been chosen by ABC Asset Management Trust, to be the bank. And then you get in there and you don't like the person, they don't like you, and you say, "I'm not opening a checking account here." No problem. You send us an email to the Protection Group LLC at gmail.com. My name is Bill Johnson. I'm my ABC Asset Management Trust. Would you please send me bank documents for Sun Trust and Fifth Third? And we'll prepare them. We'll send them out to you. There's no charge. There's never, in fact, there is never another charge. The only other time that you could ever have any money spent with the Protection Group is if you use all 10 of those trusts because you have so many assets and things that you're doing, but you found another property that you want to purchase, and it
Yeah.
needs to have its own trust. Where you need 11 trusts to do that. That 11th trust, each additional trust would cost you $100 for each trust, and that's all.
That's all. Wow. The more I listen to you, the more I'm getting motivated and excited about this whole program. We talked about the protector. What does the protector do?
Frank, the protector is your bodyguard.
Who, Tink?
No matter what happens to you, no matter what happens in the trust, the protector. Remember a minute ago we had to fire you because you didn't do it. You didn't like you. We got in a fight, whatever.
Yeah.
The protector is always there to do what you want them to do. In the case of a trustee being fired, the protector can step in and be the trustee until you get somebody else in there.
Whoa.
And to make sure that it works, that it's smooth. You might have a situation. Let's say you had a situation where this is ridiculous, but hey, sometimes people are ridiculous. You got $20 million in your checking account. But you want to buy an $18 million airplane. Now, you and I both know that's the dumbest thing you could ever do. You only have $20 million, but you're going to spend $18 million on an airplane. Well, I've always told you that no matter what you want, no matter what it is, you'll always be able to get it. Nobody can tell you no. Okay. So you submitted in the minutes of your meeting and that you wanted $18 million for an airplane, and one of your trustees says, well, I'm supposed to do what you want me to do because remember, you pay me a little bit of money and I serve at your pleasure. The other trustee looks at you and says, Frank, you lost your mind. I'd never sign that. That is against all my beliefs, all my principles. It would be the worst mistake you ever made in your life. You say, hey, John, appreciate you working with me, but I'm not going to need to be able to use you anymore. Now you only have one trustee to sign that. You have to have both trustees sign off on that document. So where's your protector? The protector will go do it because you tell him to. Mr. Protector, go sign that in the trustee's position, and they will write me a check for $18 million. And let me back up just a second, because you had a fellow ask you a question we didn't get answered a minute ago. In my case, and in a lot of folks' cases, I have the checkbook in my possession. Okay, and I can't sign a check, but if I want to, let's say I want $25,000. I just want to check for $25,000. I got one trustee that lives 30 miles away, and I got another trustee that lives a block away. And so I send the request in the minutes of the meeting over to the trustee that lives 30 miles away. I do it by email. Just scan it in, email it, and say, hey, Bob, sign this, and send it back to us. Well, Bob says you need a check for $25,000. Fine. He signs it, dates it, sends it back to me. Now, I've got the signed document, and I've got the checkbook, but I've got Chuck over here, who is my other trustee. I've got to get him to sign the document. So I just call Chuck, say, hey, Chuck, what are you doing in a little bit, in an hour? He said, well, I'm available. Okay, great. I'll be over at your house, or you want to just meet me at Starbucks? I'll buy you a cup of coffee or whatever. And he said, sure, I'll meet you. So I take the checkbook, and I got that document that I just got one trustee to sign, and I take it with me. I say, Chuck, remember we want $25,000 out. You need to sign this document. Chuck says, sure. Sign the document. Okay, now it's a document that stays in my trust. It gives the trustees the authority to write a check for $25,000.
Son of a gun.
Well, Chuck's right there with me. I've got the checkbook. And I pull it out and say, here, write me a check for $25,000. And Chuck does, because it only takes one trustee to write a check for the $18 million airplane. It only takes one trustee to write a check for $25,000. Now, I get that $25,000. The first question is always asked is, well, is that taxable? No, it's not taxable. It's a reduction of principal of your trust.
Yeah.
So the money that's in your trust, the millions of dollars that you have in your trust, taxes have already been paid on it for interest that you made for the year. Anything that the CPA says you got to pay taxes, you pay taxes. What's left over, you can spend. Just like your home, just like you go to work for General Electric. They give you a check at the end of the week, or 2 weeks, and you get your money. What do you do with that money? You spend it all. They've already taken out your taxes. The trust will have already had the taxes paid, and only between the trust and the person and you as the individual, only one of you has to pay the taxes, not both of you. That's a CPA question. You have to ask your CPA which is the best way, because it's two different tax rates. So I got the $25,000. I put it in my checking account and I go spend it. Want to go to maybe I want to give $10,000 to two different people. Well, that's how I get the money to give it to them. I give them $10,000 a piece because I can give them up to $15,000 a year. That's not taxable to them, and it's not taxable to anybody. So it gets a gift.
I got you. You know, it's interesting. There's like backups for backups in this whole program. Who keeps the checkbook? I think you said that. Who keeps the checkbook?
It's up to you.
Oh,
You are the beneficiary. You're the beneficiary of the trust.
I'm in control of everything,
Maybe.
ain't I?
Yeah, maybe your two trustees. Maybe one's your brother and one's your niece or something, and you don't care if they have a checkbook, so you give them both some checks. That's fine. They can't do anything with the checks except at your direction, or you can keep the checkbook yourself. Just why not? You might as well keep it. You know, but you got to remember that if anybody in all 50 states, any trustee, just remember, how do you spell trustee? TRUST, trust, trustee. If anybody in the United States, in the 50 states, does anything to take $1 illegally out of your trust, in all 50 states, it's a felony charge.
Interesting. Can the trust give money to a charity?
The trust cannot give money to the charity.
Cannot?
The only way the trust can give money to anybody is if it benefits you, the beneficiary. Now you want to give $10,000 to St. Jude's. You tell the trustees to write you a check for $10,000 to St. Jude's. They can't do that because it doesn't benefit you.
I see.
So you say, okay, well that's fine. Just give me the check for $10,000.
Right.
They do.
Yeah.
Then you give it to St. Jude's. Now.
Right.
Here's the thing: at the end of the year, you have just given away a charitable donation, $10,000. So your CPA at the end of the year is going to look at the checkbook for the trust. They're also going to take the highlights of checkbook that you have at home and look and highlight the ones that would be contributions, and they are all become deductible for you.
Fascinating.
You merge them together. The Internal Revenue Service, they're the ones that consider our trust to be a pass-through trust, which means it's either you pay the taxes or the trust pays the taxes. But it's kind of like if you had a bank account in your left pocket and a trust account in your right pocket, and you took $10,000 out of your right pocket and put it in your left pocket. It's not a taxable event. It's just a reduction of principal.
Yes.
So you can move it any way you want to, back and forth, whatever you want to do. But
Well-
it does not. It never creates a taxable event to put money in or take money out.
So the trust does not make money? I mean, if the
Oh,
trust...
absolutely.
It doesn't
Oh,
make-
absolutely, it does.
So, okay, so if the trust makes money, are there tax fees to pay?
Of course.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. Okay.
I've never seen the Internal Revenue Service let you make money. And I mean, let's say that you have $10 million and you put it into a bank and you're going to leave it there and you negotiated for 8% interest. You might get $800,000 at the end of the year. That $800,000 is a taxable event.
Yeah, yeah.
That is income. Now you might have income. You might have deductions against it. For example, here's a good one. A lot of people want to start foundations and charities, and we don't do that, but a lot of people are going to do it with their money. Let's say you exchanged and you had a lot of money. Maybe you got $20 million in there. And you decide that you want to give $500,000 to a charity or a foundation that you want to start, or somebody else starts it. You want to put it in there. You give the $500,000 goes from the trust to you. You then give it to the charity. Now you've given away $500,000. Now that is a deduction, a taxable deduction. So if you made $800,000, on your interest that year, you've got $500,000 that's a deduction. So your taxes would be only on $300,000. But that's a CPA question. Don't. I'll say that one in reverse. It was in my opinion.
Okay.
Because I'm not a CPA.
Well,
As
an example, if I take out $20 million out of my trust fund, is that taxable?
no.
Oh.
It's not taxable because everything that's in the trust the taxes have already been
Oh,
paid.
but of course, I'm sorry. That was a dumb question. Can I buy a house for my daughter from the trust?
That's a CPA question,
Oh,
because there are ways to probably do it. I think if you ask your CPA, say, look, how about I want to get my daughter a house. She's going to eventually own it anyway. We'll put it in the trust. We'll make a trust for that house. We'll call it my daughter's trust, real estate trust. Put the house in it, and maybe there's a way that she doesn't have to declare taxes on it. Maybe that she's going to do some work around the yard. Maybe she's going to pay $100 rent. I don't know. What you want to be able to do is just write a check for $400,000 to somebody to buy them a house. And before you do that, we'll say it 100 more times before this thing RVs, and that is, do not spend any money like that without consulting your CPA as to
Roger.
what is going to happen. What is going to happen in a tax situation? But there's ways to get your daughter a house, but you need to do it legally.
Roger. Exactly. Well, looky here. It's like about 17 minutes to 8 o'clock, and at 8:30, you're going to do another presentation with the protection group itself, and
That's correct.
I'll tell you what. Let's say we take the next 17 minutes and try to answer questions. The problem, though, Bill, is that we've got something like maybe 30 or more questions all lined up here. Let me just see if I can quickly, rapid fire, and answer some of these. Like, for example, someone is asking, what if your trust gets, or excuse me, what if your trustee gets sued for some reason in his life? How does that affect the trust?
Doesn't affect the trust at all. It had nothing to do with the trust.
Um, can anybody, come in and just take our money out of the trust funds?
One thing I do that I always tell people to do when you go to the bank and open up your trust account, tell the banker and put it in writing and get an answer back from the banker in writing. That comes in this educational call too, Frank. But
No.
I always tell the banker, Mr. Banker, we do not want any money to ever come out of this trust except with a written check.
Okay. Okay.
So if somebody gets money out of that account, they have to have a written check. And if I've got the checkbook, good luck.
We have a lot of people from all over the world. Is this just for the 50 states, or is this for
That
everybody?
that is correct. It's just for you have to be a citizen of the United States to be able to have this trust,
Okay, only for the citizens of the United States. We have a
and
vet.
and 18 years of age.
Oh, very good. And 18 years old. We have a veteran, Rich Walker's asking, he says, I'm 100% disabled veteran. I don't pay property tax on anything. With a trust, will I need to pay property tax through the trust?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I would think not.
Well,
I
maybe,
would think that I would think, but that's not going to be something that I can answer because
yeah,
I don't know the correct answer.
very good. And that's why the 8:30 meeting has some, are we going to have lawyers there that can answer these questions?
Yeah, the lawyer would answer that question.
Very good.
And I don't want to.
I don't blame you. Here, let's see as many of these questions we can answer before we hit 8 o'clock, because I also have dessert for them tonight. So here we go. Do you need a notary? Notary. Wow, I couldn't get that one out. Do you need a notary every time that you write a letter of wishes, or if you amend your trust?
You do not.
Good, good. I like that idea. How many accounts does the protection group manage? And is there a limit to the amount of trust that you can manage?
That we manage?
Yes. In other words,
I don't know.
the package has 10. And obviously, you guys, if they want, they can buy more than those 10, can't they?
You can have 500 if you want. It's unlimited. It's unlimited.
It's
Think
unlimited.
about the Rockefeller family who has an irrevocable trust. They've had it for 120 years. And every time they bought another piece of property, it went into another trust. And they are all under this sub-trust. They have probably 1,000 or more trusts.
That
So
that's
there
why
is no limit.
that's why I said at the very beginning, my first words that came out of my mouth was, ladies and gentlemen, follow the money and follow the politicians in the way they protect their money. And you heard what Bill said. This program. I mean, we're talking back 17. What was it? It's a long time that this has been around. You remember when Ted Kennedy, Chappaquidda, remember that issue?
Absolutely, we do.
They didn't. He didn't have to. Let's just say that all of his money was protected.
He didn't pay a thing at that. I think they went to a civil trial, maybe, and got
Yeah.
they did
Yeah.
the right. I think they did the right thing, but but in a trial itself, Ted Kennedy had no assets for them to attach and take and force him to sell. He could not. He didn't own a thing.
Yeah,
He had
exactly.
the trust, and that date's 1765 that you're looking for. 1765.
Thank you. Here's another question from, let's see here, Casey. It's a good question. Casey, it says, I have a question. Does the trust have to be in the state that you live in?
Oh no.
No.
Wherever you live, you'll have a trust. I mean, if you live in Virginia, you want to do everything in Virginia. The trust is made up from the laws of Wyoming. Let me ask you a question yourself. Does anybody on this call have a credit card? Well, where do all the credit cards come from? Delaware. Why Delaware? Because Delaware is consumer friendly to credit card holders. Why Wyoming for trust? You just answered the question, because Wyoming is consumer friendly to all trust people. That's why it was chosen. It's the best state of the 50 states to have a trust in.
Wow, that makes me, think about why a lot of people go to Las Vegas or Reno for other issues. Anyways, here's another question. So, two trustees and a protector. What if I? Oh no, that's not a good question. Hold on a second. Let me see. When we open up an account at the bank for the trust, is it better to get an interest-bearing or a non-interest-bearing account?
Whatever you want.
Interest-bearing, in my opinion.
I would think so. I don't want my money not working.
Hey, here's one from Crypto. Can the trust ever lose my money?
I suppose it's possible if you allow the trustees and you buy a lot of stocks and do some things with money, and the stocks go out of business and lose all your money. Like every stock I've ever bought became zero. So yes, I'm not much of a stock person, but there's a friend of mine that had $750,000. He had $2 million, and he had to put $750,000 into a thing with the truck stops where they were going to put air conditioning in the trucks when they stopped. And 3 years after he put it in there, he lost every penny of it. But that was trust money that he lost. He had it in a trust, and it was gone. It's no different than an individual. Anybody can lose money if you make a bad decision.
Dina is asking, is the trust for individuals or for business?
For individuals.
Very good question, by the way.
Now, your businesses, you can have an LLC and put it into the trust. You can put all the assets of the LLC can be one of your trusts in your trust. So it's kind of both, but it's really mainly for individuals.
Do we need to buy insurance for this trust?
No.
Very good. I like that. In fact, I talked about that earlier because of the FDIC issue. I already have an EIN number for my business, so do I need another one, that's different for the trust?
You certainly do. You start over again with the trust. You get a brand new EIN number for the asset management trust name that you chose. And one thing about that insurance just a second ago that you asked about, if you had a trust and you had $50 million in it or $10 million, whatever, you need to talk to the wealth manager at the bank and say, look, this is only protected for $250,000. What do I have to do to protect the rest of it? And maybe there's Lloyd's of London. Maybe, Frank, I've never had that much money to ever ask that question, so I don't know. and I don't know how you would protect it.
No. Okay.
Like we said earlier, one thing you could do is you could move it into 10 different banks and make
Yeah.
sure that it's segregated.
Yeah.
But for me, I think the best thing you can do is invest it. Invest it in other things like, the other investments and not keep it in cash.
I told you so. Investing. Anyways, I got to be careful here. This is an interesting question. And by the way, that last question was from Catherine. Very good question. Brad is asking, when it comes time to fill my new house with furniture, can I put X amount of dollars in a furniture trust that has a credit card attached so that I don't have to drag around the trustees to write a check for me?
Well, we don't recommend that you have a credit card because that's too easy to. Fraudulent things happen with credit cards.
Yep.
Can you do it? Yes, you can do it, but we don't recommend it. Here's what you do if you're going to buy furniture. I mean, if you're going to buy from 4 different furniture stores, then the poor old trustee has to write 4 different checks. Goodness, I don't think that'd take him very long. You get an invoice from the furniture store, and you say, Mr. Salesman at the furniture store, don't make the invoice out to me because I'm not going to be the one buying this furniture. It's going to be bought from my personal property trust. It's going to be owned by my personal property trust. And so he'll write out an invoice for what it's going to be. That means the trustee's got to write a check for that one. You're going to buy it from 4 different stores, do the same thing 4 different times. The poor trustee's got to write out 4 checks. And for that, how many times in a year is he going to do that? Just mainly at the beginning. Most people are going to do the things they're going to do in the first 6 months. After that, the trustee won't be writing that many checks. You'll have bought your motorcycle, you'll have bought your boat, you'll have bought your furniture, you'll have bought your house. You'll have done all of those things. Now what you're looking at is how can I turn that money that's left over into a bunch of profit? What's my best move? Well, that's not for me to answer. That's for your wealth manager and your financial people to answer.
Right.
There's all kinds of people that love to take it from you. Don't let them do it.
Yeah, well, Biden.
You know that, Frank. They're out. They line up out there.
Yeah. Yep. Our government, this new government that stole the elections, we have to protect ourselves from them, and that's why we're studying what we're studying. Kelly is asking a question. Do you need to contact both trustees every time that you need to buy something?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's just, what, that seems like a lot, but to have the asset protection, that's what it takes to keep your asset protection, to have your asset protection. To me, it's not that big a deal. I mean, I get them to write me a check for $25,000, and I put it in my account the middle of April, and I'm not going on vacation, I'm not giving it away. That's going to last me an awful long time. I don't have anything to do with it. I got to go to the grocery store, and I'm going to pay my own utility bills. I got to buy gas for my car, but no, I don't have to buy gas for my car. I have to buy gas for the trust car that I'm driving. So it's going to take a long time to spend $25,000. That might be 4 months before I need more.
Roger. Mike is asking, I have an EIN number from my old business. We've already answered that question, Mike. Let's see. Walter,
you have to get new ones. You have to get new EIN numbers.
You have to get new ones. Walter is asking, do they have to do what you say? Can they deny your request? Walter, that's already answered. They have to obey you. You are in control of your trust funds. Chef Mike, do both trustees have to sign a check or just one? Both of them, right, Bill?
Just one.
Oh, one.
Both have. Remember, I said a minute ago that one person could write a check for the $18 million airplane.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
One trustee.
And then the other one.
All it takes is you have to have 2 to approve it, and then either one of the trustees can write the check.
And it's good to have
one, but not both.
Yeah, it's good to have counsel. 18 million airplane. You only got 20 million. That's beyond stupidity. That's not going to be a good idea, man.
And then you go to sell the airplane to recoup, and you only get $8 million for it.
Yeah. As soon as you buy a brand new car, it loses about 4,000 or 5,000 as soon as it drives off the showroom there.
More, yeah.
Hector is asking, can a minor be a trustee? They have to be 18 and above, right?
No, yes, you have to be 18.
Okay. So we have Chef Melanisa is asking, what if I don't have anyone What if I have no one else to name as trustee? What do I do? Well, there's many people. If you go to church, maybe there's some people that you can trust. Your pastor, maybe a lawyer. But you look for what you need, and I think you'll be okay with that. It says, is there any great tax advantage to opening prior to the to the reinstatement of any foreign currency? In other words, should we do this now or should we do it after? And I think you already asked it, but go ahead and hit it one more
No,
time.
I haven't answered that question. There's three reasons to buy the trust pre-RV. Number one, you avoid the rush that's going to hit us like a mountain slide coming down on us after the RV. So you avoid the rush. Number two, you get to put your currency into the trust before the RV, and when you take it and exchange it, the bank will give you the money and put it back into your trust. It never had 1 second of liability of being exposed. It was always protected from the time that you laid your hands on it. It was in your trust account, and it's absolutely protected. The third thing is called, this is called the corpus of your trust. It's CORPUS, corpus of the trust. What does that mean? What is the corpus of the trust? That's the value of the trust when you establish it. So if you won a lottery and you won $50 million, you put the $50 million into a trust, into an irrevocable trust, into our trust with us, $50 million. The trust would be valued at $50 million, right? I mean, that's the corpus of the trust. Now, for us, pre-RV, we're going to take currency and put it into the trust. And so let's say you had $5 million worth of Iraqi dinar.
Makes sense.
That's what you had. That's what you have. Okay, and so you put it into one of the documents that comes with the trust is a document where you assign the ownership of that $5 million worth of dinar from you to the trust. The dinar stays in your desk drawer. It doesn't go anywhere. And the document that you're filling out is just a one-page document that stays in your trust book. It doesn't go to the bank. It doesn't go in. It's only there in case you ever have a lawsuit or the IRS audits you for some reason. What it proves is that you put $5 million into the trust when it was only worth $1,000 a million, which is $5,000. That's all it's worth. So you have just established the corpus of your trust at $5,000. You go to do your exchange and you exchange it and you get back $10 million for it, just for the sake of argument. Okay, that $10 million does not change the corpus of your trust. The corpus of your trust is always going to be $5,000. That's what you started at.
I'll be darned.
Now you go into a court of law and you have a lawsuit against one of your trusts, a motorcycle accident like we had before, or automobile accident, or what. The most they can get from you is the value of your trust. That's all they can get. They're going to sue you. You have nothing. So the only other alternative is to sue the trust. Well, the only thing you can get by law of the trust is the maximum is the value of the trust. In this case, the value is $5,000.
I didn't know.
That's the most you could ever get out of a lawsuit against a trust that's only worth $5,000.
I didn't know that. Guys, family, how many times have we asked that question? A bazillion times. Should we do a trust fund before or after? Oh my word, you just heard 3 powerful reasons. Well, maybe 2.
And in addition to that pre-RV, we will work with you on a credit card if you want to do it that way. But after RV, it'll be nothing but wire transfers, cash. So.
I got you. I don't blame you. Looky here.
But everybody's going. But post RV, everybody's going to have money, Frank. We don't need a credit card.
Exactly. Bill Johnson, I tell you what. Why don't you wrap it up, because it's 8:00 and I'm going to have now less than 30 minutes to give him dessert. I want to give him more than that. And in 30 minutes, this whole thing starts up again with you at another site. So tell the family about. I'm going to hold up this sign and go ahead and dismiss us.
Okay, I appreciate it. Frank, it's a great call, and I appreciate you having me on. And all the people that are out there spending your time listening to me babble. I appreciate that too. The thing that I was going to promise you at the end of the call was the 800 number. Excuse me, the phone number. It's not an 800 number. The phone number for the education call. You know, in order to make a decision about a trust, this trust or any trust. You got to get educated. So that's what we've done. We put together a 45-minute education call that it will explain everything to you. Some of the things we touched on tonight and some of the things we haven't touched on tonight will be in that call. I'm going to repeat that number twice for you because sometimes I talk rather fast, and I know how it is when you start writing a number down. You say, Bill, slow down. I missed it. What was that? What? And you can't talk to me, so I'll do it twice. But the number is 605-313 5155. There's a PIN that's asked number. PIN number is 155703#. Okay, now this is the education call. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. 605-313-5155. Same PIN number I just gave you, 155703#. On Tuesday and Thursday nights, this happens to be Tuesday. On Tuesday and Thursday night at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, which is in a half an hour, we have a live call that you'll hear me again. But at the end of that call, we open it up for Q&A. We have our attorney on the line, so anybody that ask a question that didn't get answered correctly, or that they want to broaden the answer, please get on the call and ask Scott. But that number is 605-313-5156 with the same PIN number, the 155703#. Again, that number is 605-313-5156. Folks, it's been great talking with you, and I hope everybody learned a little something. And there'll be a point in time that if when you get on that information call, you'll see a number on there. That number will come. It will be something. I will get the number. I'll leave a message. Any message you leave, it'll come to me. When I call you back, you'll have my cell phone number, and you can do like a lot of people do and call me up and ask me just a question. Hey, Bill, what is this? What is this? Or you can text it. I have a lot of people that text me a question. What do I do here? And I'll answer it that way, or I can say I can't answer it. It's too long. Call me. We'll talk. Okay, Frank, thank you. I appreciate it.
I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
Appreciate you and Jan. Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. I'm very grateful. In fact, I look into the camera and, hey, all you other sites, all you other gurus, you should tell your listening audience to come and check out the Protection Group LLC UB2B that we did tonight. God bless you, Bill. Take care.
Thank you, Frank. God bless you. Good night.
Good night, sir. That's some good stuff, huh? I mean, the one that really floored me, I think it was somebody by the name of Fulford. Fulford. I forget what your first name was, sir, but yeah, that question was loaded. I think I got it from you, and I just there's so many people, and there's so many things in my head. It's hard sometimes for me to file them all properly. But I think it was you that asked the question: should we do this before, or should we do this after? And you heard the answer. Alrighty, look at here. We've got 25 minutes together. And again, I thank Bill Johnson. And if you can be with him in 25 more minutes, it would behoove you. Holy cow. And they're going to have the lawyers that you can ask point blank questions, you know. Anyways, look at here. Let me just do a few things with you, and then we'll get going. Number one, a lot of you, that are concerned. You're calling and you're saying, well, Frank, okay, the next thing is the budget, right? It has to be signed by the president, right? And then in the Gazette, right? And then we have the rate, right? Don't do that to me. Don't do that to yourself. Everything I say tonight is in my opinion. And in my opinion, I don't think you should do that. Do what? Look for a date. Let the process unfold. When a volcano blows up, you think the people in Hawaii actually know when the volcano is going to stop with the lava flowing? No. This thing is exploding, this, monetary reform. You see the articles. It's not my fault that we're at this point right now. And you see and we told you you're going to see nothing but what? Kazemi and the governor of the CBI talk. And what do you got? Today, I think we put in about another 8 or 7 more articles from Kazemi, from the governor of the CBI. And you know something? A lot of people don't know how to interpret those articles. Have you noticed the pattern that on our Monday calls, I've been spending a lot of time with these articles with you so that you can understand. And we also, in fact, we now have a new label. In the final article thread, when you go in there and you see an article, in my opinion, if I think it's something you should flush down the toilet, I'm going to tell you. Well, then why would you put the article in there, Frank? So that you can understand the forces that are against the monetary reform and who they are. Okay? Don't worry. I mean, go way back, you know. The best example is when I would tell you, we have a prime minister. No. They got to vote on it, and then they got to do this and put him in the Gazette. And we have a prime minister. We ended up with 4 prime ministers in 1 year. What was it? Not last summer, but the summer before. Trump knew what he was doing, and in my opinion, I thought I knew what he was doing, and sure enough, it turned out that way. There was no vote for no Kazemi. When it turned out that he was the one that was working with Donald Trump, boom, there you go. You're there permanent, and that's the way it is. Now, for you that you're seeking a budget that needs to be signed, how many times have I told you the budget's already passed? And that's a bold statement because never in the history of Iraq have we ever seen a budget approved, signed, sealed, and delivered and implemented. Never. Never. The dictatorships of Iraq have always stole the money, not only from the government, but from the CBI auctions. It's easy to steal the money because you're in cahoots with those that are evil. You've got to, I mean, it's crazy to see that so many people in the United States of America that are politicians on the Democratic side are heavily involved with China. Heavily involved with China. Coca-Cola, what's the matter with you? Major League Baseball. Okay. So you got a contract in the bazillions with China to broadcast Major League Baseball, all over China. And you would much rather insult Americana with your statements. I'll never go to another baseball game in my life. I'll never go to another NFL. I love my Detroit Lions, losers. But I'll never go to their games. I'll never go to an NFL game again. They can do fine without me. But I have principles, and I live by them. I have 3 rules. Number 1, don't lie to me, and they did. Number 2, don't touch my family, and they did. And number 3, don't ever touch my money, unless I give it to you, and they did. Yeah, it's pretty sad and it's pretty ugly. So let me summarize what I'm trying to say, because I'm going to bring you 3 things tonight, because I like things in 3s. Once again, the budget is passed. Well, yeah, now we see that it's passed. But it took a lot of matzo balls to say that. You've never seen a budget. What kind of nerve did I have for you to tell you this? Well, I guess we have good teams. In the same manner, I tell you, you're looking for the president to sign it? It's already signed. It is not, Frank. It's already signed. It is not. Look, in 14 days, you're going to see the budget. You know why? Because it's already signed. Well, Frank, in 14 days, the president, oh, wait a minute. If the president doesn't sign it, it's automatically implemented. Duh. It's already signed, and you're not going to see it until 14 days from now. You want a time frame? There's one. Do with it whatever you want. But don't you dare say that that's the date that Frank said that the reinstatement of the Iraqi dinar is going to occur. No, that's when you're going to see the budget. And that's the next process in this whole monetary reform. But Frank, what does the budget have to do with the monetary reform? A lot. The exchange rate is in there. Oh, okay. The HCL is in there. Oh, okay. Ask Berzani. He's going crazy. He got more than he thought he was going to get from the oil. Oh, okay. So once again, the budget is passed. Well, we know that. And the budget is signed. We don't know that. Fine. Then wait 14 days and leave me alone. Don't call me about the budget no more. Number 2, our dear brother Eddie. You notice that I haven't shown you. Where you at, Eddie? Where's Neil? Okay, here we go. Now, I'm not going to take my time to show you this, but look, this is as of today. He literally vomited all the stuff that was told to them. Look at it. It just goes on. He is just going berserk. And the reason why, look at that. Look at that. There's no end to it. And I finally, here we go. There's me. And look at me. I'm like, okay, let me talk to you, son. Let me talk to you, son. And as you can see, it goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. But what happened is that yesterday there was the CBI, but it's a CBI spokesman, and you did have Kazemi, all right, and they come out and they start talking to the citizens of Iraq. Hey, what, we got white papers. You do? You need budget. Okay, this is great, isn't it? Yeah. And it's going to take 3 to 5 years for the white papers to evolve and be completed. And my dear friend, and a lot of my dear friends, oh no! What? Oh no! What? It's going to take 3 to 5 years before we see the new exchange rate. Where's it say that? Right here. Right here. Read it. That's not what it says. Yes, it does. And look, it's Kazemi. And look, it's the governor of the CBI. Yeah, these are the guys you told us to look for. You're interpreting this wrong. So I responded by telling him the following. And in fact, here you can see as a start by telling him. He says to me, he says, well, I don't understand all of this stuff they're telling us. How can it be that there's no international rate? Because all they told us was all about international stuff. You have to understand that he lives in that environment. You ever see Naked and Afraid? I like those shows. I really do. Naked and Afraid. Man, I'd stay out there for months. Shoot. Naked and Afraid, I feel bad for them, I feel bad for them, right? The torture that they go through. But I'm watching it on my couch. I'm sitting there on my couch and I'm watching this. It's easy for me to say, yeah, whatever. Eddie is right there. And he is being bombarded by every nasty individual that you can think of from Iran. What I didn't read to you 2 days ago, he said, Mr. Frank, they just hit us with more rockets. You didn't see that in any articles. Every morning they wake up to rockets. Don't you think that they would be on the edge 24/7 constantly? What was that? What? You know what I mean? And when you live in that type of mental and physical state, shoot, anything becomes sensitive. Anything becomes sensitive. And when he replies to me and he says, oh no, look, oh no, you're wrong, Frank, oh no. And then a few weeks go by and he's like, oh, okay. Well, and here we are again. You're wrong. Look, they're telling us it's going to take 3 to 5 years. Oh, for crying out loud. So I tell him the following. I says, hey, gentlemen, because I'm talking to more than just Eddie. Gentlemen, I truly appreciate your report. I'm very grateful. I really am, every day that you send it to me. But unfortunately, what you are being told recently, especially this morning, is not what we know in our study as a team, Walking Stick and I. And that's going to it's going to continue to cause a problem between you and me. I said you and us. You see, you ask me right now, how can this be done without an international rate? And my answer to you, Eddie, is that they have an international rate electronically since December the 20th of 2020, in my opinion, of last year. And they are about to show it to you because you hear nothing but negative talk. And you are forced to believe that negative talk because you live there. And I'm left out of the conversation and made to look stupid with my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I have learned to love you, Eddie. Now you must learn to trust me more. Regardless of how long this takes. Because everything I've always told you has always come true. God bless you. I love you. Anyways, it calmed him down a little bit, but I know he's hurting, and I know you're hurting too. So when you see negative things, I would suggest that you should go into our final article thread. Because like I told you, from this point onward, we are now going to put a title. We're now going to be, if this article is to be flushed down the sewers, I'm going to tell you exactly that. And you say to yourself, well, why waste your time and put that article in there? So that you can know the enemy well. The only way to defeat the enemy is to know him well. The only way to defeat the negativity, and especially gurus out there that are saying things that they shouldn't, is to know the enemy well. Okay? All right, I wish you well on that. Carlos River. I was going to say Rivera. Carlos just says, patience is a virtue. Patience is a learned art. Patience is a learned art. Practice it and learn it with God. Alrighty, so that's two things. And the third thing that I want to do, where's my phone? Let me see how we do this. Let me see. If you're listening to me right now, I'm about to call you. The problem is I can't remember what your number was. Here it is. Hold on a second. I think this is it. Let me see. Oh dear me.
I'm from Texas. I just wanted to call and say God bless you. I hope you're feeling okay. I hope Brother Walking Stick is okay. I wanted to tell you I took your advice and I called a bank location near.
What was his name?
I can hear him saying.
I forgot his name. I feel bad. Shh.
I'm sorry I missed your call. If you will, just leave me your name.
Oh, bummer.
Have a blessed day.
Oh, what a shame I missed you, partner. I tell you what, if you get this call in the next 10 minutes, call me back, okay? Remember I told you I wanted to bring you in so that you could tell us a lot more. And I feel bad now because you only told me half the story. Anyways, God bless you. I hope I get to hear from you in the next 10 minutes. Bye-bye now. All right. Now, because of the fact that we lost that, I'm so sorry, y'all.
Hi.
Here's what. Oh, no, don't say his name.
I just wanted to call and say God bless you. I hope you're feeling okay. I hope Brother Walking Stick is okay. I wanted to tell you I took your advice and I called a bank location near me, and they said that the dinar was on their list of currencies to exchange. They asked me what denominations I had, and that when I was ready and when it reinstated, to bring my denominations into them. Anyway, I just wanted to give you some positive news from the great state of Texas. Anyway, God bless you and your family. Y'all have a blessed day and be careful.
Okay, I was in a excited state to have him with us tonight because you see what happened is that he called his brother, and he says, "Hey, What? You're not going to believe this. You know what that guy, Frank 26 told us to do? Yeah, I did it. You did? What happened? They told me, yeah, we got it here on the boards. We see it. The Iraqi dinar, it's on our computer screens. And, okay, so when it is now, when it's international, when it's accepted, worldwide, bring it in. And by the way, what kind of denominations do you have? And when he told me that, I said, they asked you that? And he says, yeah. And I said to him, boy, they should not have asked you that. That's not proper. You know what I'm saying? They actually asked you more than they should have asked you. But okay, so they wanted to know what denominations and how much you had and everything, huh? And he said, yeah. And then what'd you do? Well, I was so excited, I called my brother. I said, brother, I did this, and this is what they said. Well, my brother said, no. And I said, yeah. He said, no. I said, yeah. He said, no. I said, okay, whatever. Yeah, okay. And it turned out that my brother said, hold on here. Hold on. Because you see, he called Chase. That was the Chase Bank. So he decided to call BOA down in Texas. And he gets on the phone, ring a ding ding, and lo and behold, the same thing happened to him. They said, yeah, what currency? Because he says to him, do y'all exchange foreign currency? He says, yes. What foreign currency do you have? And he says, the Iraqi dinar. And he says, yes, it's on our list, and soon you'll be able to bring it in, but we can't help you right now. I'm like, what'd you say? We can't help you right now. Alrighty, but maybe I'll be able to come in later on. He said when it is recognized, we'll be able to bring you in. You see, this is a pattern. No, a lot of banks are saying, not every bank. In fact, most banks are just still being quiet about it. But it's the big banks. It's the big banks. Don't be calling a mom and pop place. Call a state bank. I live in the state of Ohio. I would call Chase in Columbus, Ohio. I bet you they would tell me something. I mean, they ain't gonna tell me that. It's going about to revalue, yeah, we know about it and what's about to happen. And they're not going to be that bold about it, but they're not being nasty. Isn't that interesting? I think so. Anyways, those are the three things that I wanted to talk to you about tonight. I got about 6 minutes before the other trust, the protection group starts. But I want to show you something. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to go where I have, where I have my valuables. But today, this came in the mail from my broker. And what I want to point out to you is that back in 2003, when we went in there, we removed the Saddam Swiss note, and we replaced it with the 3-0 notes and lowered the exchange rate so that the 3-0 notes would work mathematically with a lower exchange rate. Okay. Now, what they did is they printed a new currency, and that's the new small category notes. But they also printed a lot of the 3-0 notes that they had in circulation. Now, if you bought your dinars back in 2004, 2005, no more than maybe 2006, you're going to see that the 50,000 dinar note was the original one that they were using. Okay. But this is the 50,000 dinar note today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the state-of-the-art currency. There are so many protective features on this currency. Not even the United States dollar comes close to it. I can point out to you, look here, you see where my finger is moving? Let me see, where's my finger over here moving? Okay. You see these three things right here? That's a safety feature. There's a watermark right here that you probably can't see. You see this thing that looks like a grenade or a pineapple down here? Another feature. You see this bar? Remember in ours it was a little thin metallic bar that had data in it? Oh my gosh! This is different. This is hologram. The data that's stored in there is phenomenal. If ever it's robbed, if ever it's misused, if ever terrorism gets a hold of this money, boy, will they be able to be found quickly. This little window right here, that's cellophane. Look here. Can you see my finger? Can you see my finger? Watch this. Right there. Can you see my finger? Hello. Can you see my eye? Hello, I see you. I don't even think our currency has that. Do you see this? This right here, also a hologram. You see this? Let me see. Where am I at? Oh, shoot, I lost place. You see this marker? And then on the back, I mean, there's just so many other things. Starting with that one, with that. It just goes on and on and on. I mean, look at that. Not only the things that you can see, but the invisible things. Looks like a monkey. No, it's not a monkey. But anyways, why would the IMF go through so much trouble with the CBI to create the state-of-the-art currency for a program rate? Why? Well, they wouldn't. And they never did. And why is it that we've never, I mean, the budget, that is a pattern that you must understand. You're about to see it. Why haven't we ever seen it? Because there wasn't a reason for it. The mathematics just wouldn't add up. If I had, and next time I'm going to get you one of the old 50K notes. I have one of those, and I'll show it to you. And then I'll hold this 50K note next to it. They're both legal and tender inside of Iraq and outside, you know. But why? Why the change? Budget. Why Bazzani? Why the change? Budget. Why the change? HCL. Why the change? International World. I mean, 2 years ago, the Kuwait conference, you said, I mean, why the change? What's going on? I think you know why. Take this conference call to God in prayer. Make decisions on the trust fund. And make decisions on what I share with you. Is it valuable? And if not, then flush it down the toilet. I love you tremendously. You're not going to believe this. But I'll be with you again tomorrow night. We're going to do Will's infomercial, and I decided to come in. You see, in my opinion, every day brings us closer to this reality. Y'all sleep good tonight, okay? Y'all sleep good tonight, and hoorah. Y'all sleep good tonight, okay? God bless you. And dream. Dream of a reality. Dream. Because you see, your dreams are the blueprints to your future. Dream with God. I love you. Y'all take care. Aloha. Bye-bye. Ooh.